Hello everybody, this is the thejonnymar, and welcome to this new series looking at the Pokemon Generation 1 games. Specifically, I'm going to be playing Pokemon Blue and trading with Pokemon Red, because the main goal of this series is to do a complete Pokedex. So I want to collect all 151 of the Pokemon available in Generation 1, which does include Mew, so I will be using the fly/teleport/Mew glitch in order to acquire that wonderful Pokemon. So in this particular game, I do have a couple of limits I'm going to put on myself. The main limit I'm going to place on myself is that I am only going to have one Pokemon allowed for my active team per gym. So essentially what that means is each new gym that I go to, I will add an additional Pokemon to my active party. So for the first gym, I will only have one Pokemon in my party. For the second gym, I will have two Pokemon in my party, and so on and so forth. Now I can certainly switch Pokemon in and out if I want to, as long as I adhere to that particular limit. But again, the main goal of this series is to get the complete Pokedex, and also to finish off the Elite Four and become the Pokemon Champion. Now I could continue, where I already have the Pokedex completed, but I feel like that would be a little bit of cheating. So instead we're just going to start a new game. And we're going to talk to this guy here, the Pokemon Professor. And these graphics are pretty impressive, aren't they? We're going to have these very large character sprites throughout the game, no doubt. And this world is inhabited by Pokemon, or pocket monsters. We have a Nidorino here. Or is that a Nidorina? It's hard to tell without the color. I think it's a Nidorino. And yes, he mentions that Pokemon are sometimes used as pets and others just use them for fighting. You know, this is basically dog fighting or rooster fighting, however you want to look at it. I always enjoyed this, that basically his canonical name is Blue, but you also have Gary as an option, which is the opposite from the anime. And in fact, the rival is going to have Ash as an option. But our name here is actually Johnny. Now sometimes I mess around with this and I'll add a question mark or an exclamation point because they like to use exclamation points in this game. Everything is an exclamation! But we'll just stick with the basic name. And here is Oak's grandson that he cannot remember the name of. He's been our rival since we were a baby. So what was his name? Canonically, his name is Red. Another option is Ash, or Jack, I guess. But we're going to go with my cousin, which is the person that I played this game the most with when we were kids. So my cousin Bobby and I would play this game a lot. He had Red and I had Blue. And we would do kind of dueling parallel quests against each other. We would trade with each other and we would fight each other. I'll talk a little bit more about those experiences as we go on in the game. Well, I'm glad you finally remember that I was able to jog your memory, Oak. But now it's time for us to get into our own Pokemon legend. Let's do it. With these massive character sprites, let's get into this world of dreams and adventure. And let's start collecting some Pokemon. Wait, what? Oh man. Now we're just this tiny little kid who's a slight pink color because of the Game Boy player. And yes, I am playing the Super Nintendo. This is my childhood right here. The Super Nintendo was my main console, and I also played a lot of the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. So as many people are aware, if you access the computer over here, you can withdraw a potion. And that is kind of, I guess, a little bit of a gift here. Maybe we spent our allowance on it, who knows. But we will have that for our first battle just in case things go completely terribly, to hopefully not lose it. And then on TV here, we have a movie. I've heard that this is related to some famous Japanese movie when the game was originally made, and then it was just translated literally. And Mom is like, hey, you're only like 10 years old, but all boys leave the home someday. No mention of girls, not yet. Not until the second generation. But it's fine, just head out there. I'm not worried about you. Maybe you should be, Mom. I've always found it humorous that our home is named after us, not our parents. So maybe all the mail that goes to our parents is addressed to Johnny's mom and Johnny's dad? Where is dad? How come we never have a dad? Well, sometimes we have a dad in these games, but not in this generation. So we're going to walk around here and talk to everybody. They're going to tell us some basic tips here. We're going to try to find Professor Oak to start this game off. And while we do that, I do want to continue to mention that I am looking for Pokemon names. So as I mentioned in part 0 of this game series, I am looking to have all of the names of the Pokemon named after viewers. And so if you would like to have a particular Pokemon or a family line of Pokemon named after you or whatever you want to name them, please check out the description of this video and see which names have already been claimed, and pick a Pokemon or family line that hasn't been claimed so far, and you can name it in the comment section below. And you can do that on any of the videos of the series. But here we have our rival. And we have this encyclopedia that is blank. I'm sure that won't come into play. It's not like it's colored the same as our main character here, making it somewhat important. And then we have Pokeballs. Nice. Can we just grab one? No. That is not an option. And the game is going to give us some basic tutorial stuff. Very important stuff, but obviously most of you have probably played Pokemon. Maybe not, so I am going to show off most of the character dialogue in this game, just in case people want to know what it is. I am, however, going to be cutting out most of the random encounters. I'll show a couple of them off, like a new encounter on each road and route. But after that, I'll start cutting them out, simply because it really inflates the time of the video. And here's Oak, finally, as we head into the grass. It's unsafe. Wild Pokemon live out there. You need one to protect yourself. You can't possibly catch a Pokemon without another Pokemon. You know, that hasn't been retconned yet. So he's going to take us back to the Poke Lab, and he's going to give us a Pokemon. I wonder which one I'll pick. But I'm also going to be cutting out redundant trainer battles. So I will tell you about what to expect in the trainer battles, but essentially the trainers that have the same sorts of Pokemon over and over again, for just ease of episode and viewing, I'm going to start cutting those out as the game goes on as well. So Oak is going to give us our first Pokemon. And when he was a tyke or a youngster, he was quite the Pokemon trainer, he says, but now he just has 3 left. These ultra rare Pokemon. And Bobby's like, hey, I want to get one too. But you gotta wait. You can't possibly pick it first, Bobby. That would allow me to pick one that is a type advantage to yours. Yeah, I'm greedy. I was told to do it. So which Pokemon are we gonna pick? Now my favorite of the Gen 1 starters is Charmander. And so usually I do pick Charmander and then offset him with some other elemental Pokemon to overcome his weaknesses early in the game. But I am also a fan of Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur's cute, and it's currently my daughter's favorite Pokemon. She loves saying Bulbasaur's name. But we're not going to take Bulbasaur either. Nope, we're going to pick Squirtle. The tiny turtle. Not a mutant turtle, not a ninja turtle, just a regular turtle. With a squirrel tail. So we're going to pick that particular Pokemon because it is the favorite of my wife. And so we are going to name it after my wife as well. So the nickname for Squirtle will be Wifey. So the naming has begun. All of the Pokemon in the game will have custom names unless I don't have custom names for them. In which case I will not give them a custom name, but I can always rename them if I caught them in blue. If I caught them in red and have to trade them, then they're stuck with whatever name they have. And my rival, of course, picks Bulbasaur, so that he has a type advantage over my Pokemon. I'm sure that won't come into play as the game goes on. But maybe I can just grab this Charmander too. No, Oak will not allow it. Really, Pokemon fight against each other. Well, I'm sure that won't come into play at all. So let's check out our Pokemon. Not bad stats. Anything above a 10, around a 10 to 12 is pretty good for a starter. And Squirtle has a special emphasis in defense. He's pretty slow, not the greatest physical attacker or special attacker, but he's not terrible either. Do I really want to save over my old file that has already completed the Pokedex? That took almost 30 hours. Yes, for the interest of this series, I will do it. And now let's get out of here. Except, we can't! We have to take on our rival. He's gonna attack us from behind, because he's the sneaky type. And now we're gonna get into the Gen 1 Poke Battles. Pokemon at its most basic. So, Bulbasaur versus Squirtle. Can't see his tail here. Or her tail, I guess. There isn't really gender in this generation. The only gender is Nidoran. So they kind of established that Pokemon can have different gender, but then all the other Pokemon are just what they are. So we're going to try to lower defense of our Bulbasaur here. The enemy and then attack. We are getting our butt kicked. Hopefully Bulbasaur starts wasting turns. He is lowering our attack after we tried to make it easier to hit him. Hopefully Bulbasaur will not get a critical attack, because that overrides any existing effects and also your natural stats. But I think we got him. And we didn't have to use our potion. And our Squirtle levels up to level 6. Now, another restriction I'm going to place on myself is that I'm only going to allow my Pokemon to level up 1 level on each new route. And I'm going to focus the majority of the time on trainer battles as a way of leveling. So I'm not going to over-level using random encounters. Yes, smell you later, your catchphrase. See you later, man. I'm sure we will encounter you yet again in the future. But before we head out and we head to the north, which is the only way you can really go, we do want to heal with our mom so that our Squirtle is in top shape. So this game came out towards the tail end of my childhood into my teen years. And it was quite the obsession, even amongst my friends, and then of course myself and my cousin. So I played a lot of Pokemon when I was a kid, specifically this Pokemon game. And we also collected the toys, we collected the trading cards. I still have the base set, which was the main set that I collected. I think I have a complete collection of the original base set of the trading card game. Not the first edition, just the unlimited edition, but still, it took a long time to collect that full set. And I think I stopped playing the trading card game around Fossil or Team Rocket, whatever the 3rd or the 4th expansion was. As Pidgey goes down, our first encounter. But I kind of tailed off after that. I didn't really play many generations after Generation 1. I did play Generation 2, so I played Pokemon Crystal quite a bit. And I'm currently playing a Pokemon Crystal Nuzlocke in my free time. But I didn't really get into the later generations, so starting with the Game Boy Advance, I didn't really play a lot of Pokemon. And we get a potion from this attendant here from the Pokemart. And our encounter rate is pretty high here. So hopefully we can stop having these random encounters, because I'm getting tired of them and I don't want to have to edit them out. We can jump off of ledges, huh? That's cool. Wonder if we can do that on a bike or on roller skates. What the? No, he's not a trainer. That was just a random encounter that happened to happen right as I was trying to walk away from him. Crazy. This encounter rate is very high so far. I will be using Repel a lot in this game. Again, just to keep it so I don't have to keep cutting out and editing out these random encounters. So this sign tells us about PP, that moves have a certain number of uses, and then if you want to restore those uses, you have to go to a Poke Center, or Pokemon Center. It's not Nurse Joy yet. I think that was retconned in with Pokemon Yellow, that they added Nurse Joy and then some of the other characters from the anime. But you have to wonder who's paying for Pokemon Centers. I'm not sure if that's addressed in later games, or the anime or whatever, but the fact that the services are all free, very interesting. But we did have a battle, so I want to have my Squirtle healed here. So we'll throw them on the station here to get them healed through whatever it does that heals Pokemon. Electricity, a massage, inside their little Pokeballs, who knows. There are two kinds of caterpillar Pokemon, huh? Sure, tell us about it. What great wisdom are you going to give us? One has poison, one doesn't. Watch out for poison. Very good. That's important to know. And let's head into the mart, where we will be pulled into a mandatory part of the quest. So we get a package for Professor Oak, and we have to bring it all the way back to Pallet Town in order to give it to him. And this will activate the Pokedex, so we can actually start our quest. Oh no, potions are sold out. Those are actually important. When I first played this game, I didn't really use items a lot. I just made the trek back to Poke Centers, like, constantly. And so I would keep going back to a Poke Center over and over, pretty much after, like, every trainer battle. Because I wanted to save money. Because I didn't know what money was used for. Nowadays, in my experience, I tend to use a lot more items. I still don't use status boosting items, because basically I'm one of those old school players who's like, I only use attack moves with my Pokemon, and I don't use status boosting items or abilities that much. My Pokemon will have 4 attacks as its moves, and that's it. But I will use them occasionally. We're going to skip that old man for now, and we're going to check out a couple other people in this town. And also some secret items. Speary, eh? That's very creative. And what's interesting is I think this house in Pokemon Gold and Silver and Crystal still has a Spearow in it named Speary. So I'm not sure if this family is still around in Gen 2. But hello, Speary. But there are hidden items in this game. Now you get an item later in the game called the Item Finder that allows you to kind of get a signal when there might be a hidden item nearby. But I'm going to try to show off all of the hidden items, at least the ones I'm aware of. If I do miss any, please let me know in the comments, but I think I know where most of them are. So there's one here in Viridian City, and then there's 2 in the Viridian Forest, I think. The Eternally Green Paradise. Or, in our case, blue. So I am playing this on the Game Boy Player. So you may notice that the color palette is blue, again with this kind of off pink color for the characters. There may be a little bit of a blur effect, because that's what the Game Boy Player is infamous for. We can't access this guy yet, because we can't get through trees. We're not going to go down this route yet, because, well, we want to do some other stuff first. And then we're going to grab our first secret item over here. And now we are back at Professor Oak's lab. And I leveled up my Squirtle here to level 7. So let's hand off the Pokemon parcel. Yes, Squirtle really likes me. It's giving me the googly eyes. We must have a lot of talent as a trainer. But generally at the higher qualities of this video, you may notice less blur, Sometimes there's a little bit of an odd artifact effect when the screen is shifting around for battles and things like that, and sometimes it's less visible at the higher qualities. So if you're watching at a lower quality, especially if it's at 30 frames per second, that stuff may be more noticeable. But now Oak is going to give us our Pokedex, so we can actually start our journey. Now what's interesting about the Pokedex is that even though we didn't have it, we did encounter a few Pokemon, and those will already be in the Pokedex once we get it, even though we didn't have it. So you have to wonder how it knows that. Was someone following behind us, one of Oak's aides, keeping track of the Pokemon we saw, or what? We don't know. But Oak is too old, he just can't do it anymore. He's so old he's forgetting stuff, like his grandson's name. So he wants us to do it. He's gonna delegate this task to us, 2 young kids. They're gonna head out into the world and try to do it themselves. And our rival, of course, is full of piss and vinegar, and he is going to do it himself. He is very enthusiastic. And he's not going to allow us to get a map from his sister, which I guess is Oak's granddaughter. Well, let's see about that. Let's head over to her house and see if she will give us a map or not. And then after that, we will call it for this episode. So my next episode, we will be heading towards Viridian City. We'll catch our first extra Pokemon, and we'll start leveling up our Squirtle. So as always, viewers, thanks for the continued support. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see y'all in my next episode. So long. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please press like and leave a comment below. Please also subscribe to my channel and press the notification bell. See you next time.